Midlife Crisis Spiritual Awakening. For those who are new, I am Theron, your Astro Vibe coach, and this is the part 3 of the series that I'm doing on the midlife crisis and spiritual awakening. Today, we're going to talk about Neptune square Neptune. Since I'm using the current transit where Neptune is currently in Pisces, for this to be a square for you, that means your natal Neptune would have to have been housed in Sagittarius. So look to see if you have Neptune in Sagittarius in your natal chart. Neptune stays in a sign for 14 years. It's considered a generational sign similar to Pluto and Uranus. Neptune was in Sagittarius from 1970 to 1984. It did carry over into 1985 due to a retrograde. So if you were born between 1979 and 1981, you could be experiencing this transit now, which is your natal Neptune squaring the current Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune entered Pisces in 2010 and will stay in Pisces until 2025. During the midlife crisis spiritual awakening, this transit on Neptune square Neptune can follow very closely behind the Pluto square Pluto. Some people can have it simultaneously. However, this transit usually begins when a person enters the ages between 40 and 42. If you're not sure where your Neptune is placed in your natal chart, my suggestion is for you to pause and go to astro.com or astro-seek.com and get your free natal chart. And so you can have it as you, and then come back, and then you'll know if, where your Neptune is and if any of this applies to you. Neptune rules the sign of Pisces. Both are naturally in the 12th house of the natural astrological chart, and that is the house of undoing, the house of endings. But there's much more to Neptune than just that. Neptune represents the ocean. When I think about Neptune, I think about the vastness of that ocean, how big, how overwhelming it could be, but yet it's beautiful. It's sparks your intuition. It sparks your creativity. When I talk about Neptune, I split it in two categories: fear and faith. On the faith side of Neptune, it's highly connected spiritually. So there's a lot of optimism, a sense of universal love, creativity, again, artistry, musicians, a dreamer, caregiver, growth mindset, abundant mindset, being very generous, balanced, and intuitive and magical. The fear side of Neptune is confusion, secrets, isolation, the unhealthy isolation. We all isolate at some point to heal and to reground. But if we don't come back out into reality or into the real world, per se, it becomes unhealthy. Kind of went into a avoidant stance in our isolation. So there's low self-worth here, boundaryless, because of the universal love. When there's fear-based, then you kind of lose your boundaries of where you end and where the other person begins. Scarcity mindset, addiction, or any other forms of escapism. And it doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. It could be games. It can be food. Anything that, again, keeps you away from reality, dealing with the reality. You can use it as a distraction. That is escapism. These people have a hard time feeling or knowing that they are seen or heard, and can live in a fantasy world, making it hard for them to accept or focus in reality. They also have a sense of the world is on their shoulders, and feeling like they have the ability to stand up to that big expectation. That also is a catalyst for them trying to escape and go into another world where things are easier, they're in control, and they're able to maneuver and make things happen the way they want it to. It's the reality world that they want to stay out of because they have no control. They feel like they're defeated, and but yet they feel responsible for everyone else's well-being and happiness. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. In the traditional astrology, Jupiter rules Pisces as well. So not to confuse you, Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius, and Neptune only rules Pisces. Okay? For Sagittarius, for Jupiter and Sagittarius, this is an intuitive truth seeker explorer. There's an internal belief that the truth will set you free. So they seek higher education, long distance travel, interest in foreign cultures, philosophies in religion and spirituality. They generally make friends that don't share the same background as they do. They're friendly and open-minded, but yet can be kind of hurtful with their tongue, harshly truthful. They are idealistic, they're dreamers and brainstormers. However, they do like to learn while in motion. Okay, they like to learn as they experience. They're not going to spend a lot of time on the details because they feel like the details will fill themselves in as they take their journey. Therefore, they will take the risk of jumping before they see, or jump before they look. That's because they have this faith that whatever ground or whatever support they need will be there as they move forward on this journey. With this transit, Neptune square Neptune, we have two planets that theoretically could work really well together. But we have a square. That means that there is some sort of tension, friction, conflict going on in the house placement of these signs. Often there are challenges between us and the collective or us in the relationships that we have. What both of these placements have in common is they don't want to deal with reality. They like to dream and come up with ideas and live in that dream world or that fantasy world. Yeah, where they feel like they have more control of their environment. If you were born with Neptune in Sagittarius, you came up in a generation that sought truth, a generation that moved the veil away and exposed secrets so they can be resolved. Even though Neptune is spiritually connected, this doesn't mean you don't have questions regarding your spirituality or religion, and that you never ever change your point of view. This square is actually inviting you to do that. And let me just point out while I'm thinking about it, when I talk about faith, I'm not associating faith with a religion or a spirituality. I am talking about faith from a place of optimism. I am talking about faith from a sense where I was saying with the Sagittarius, they'll take a step forward, even though they don't see the step. They just have the faith and the optimism that something will be there to catch them so they won't fall. That's where I'm coming from with faith. So I just wanted to clear that up. Experiencing this transit can be really tricky and confusing. You're looking for directions from a trusted source to help you navigate your way on your path. But this square is actually asking you to go inward. It's asking you to align with your intuition, align with, I would say, something greater than yourself, whatever that may look like for you, because you're learning to surrender and release and allow that entity that's greater than yourself to do its part. Yeah. So it's easier said than done, and I know that. But we're so used to being in control and having control of our environment. And we're at this stopping point where we start to understand that we can't control everything. We can't carry it all on our shoulders. And we have to find out the space where we do what we need to do. So it's not a passive that you go and you do nothing. You do as much as you can do, but you have to realize there's a part where you have to hand it over and surrender to something outside of yourself that will take it from there and finish what you're really incapable of doing. And usually that is the best thing for the situation, and it removes us out of the way, and allows nature to take its course. So Neptune rules the prisons and the hospitals. So during this transit, you may have health issues surface, whether they're yours or someone else's. That means you may need to be, someone might need to care for you, or you may find yourself a caregiver. And that could be a spouse, children, or a parent. Yeah, there can be some topics come up around the prison system. Somebody might be released from prison. Hopefully no one is going into prison. Someone might get a new job with the prison system. But there is something there because Sagittarius also rule the higher courts. You could work in advocacy, healthcare, law enforcement, a lawyer. Any career that you are helping those who cannot help themselves. If you do work in any of these fields, if this is part of your career, look for or be open to some changes that are made in this environment. These careers require a lot of you, and some may show signs of self-sacrifice, where once you start self-sacrificing, then you're leading yourself down a road of burnout. You need to find a way to let go. Again, surrender is the theme for this Neptune square Neptune, where you're going to surrender, because you're going to have to surrender so you can start to prioritize your own self-care and self-worth, the same as you are prioritizing everyone else that you're caring for. It's not easy, but that's the only way it's going to sustain, because they're in this movement, especially if you work in this area. Burnout probably already has occurred, so you're probably already looking for your exit plan. But if you're trying to stay and, finish out, or, where you can retire from this or what have you, you're going to have to find that balance. Talking about self-sacrificing when there is a sense of universal love or one consciousness, letting go can seem mean and hurtful when you hear somebody tell you, just let go. But when I'm talking about letting go, while I'm talking about this Neptune square Neptune, I'm talking about surrender. And so you've heard me say surrender and you've heard me say let go, but I just want to clarify where I'm coming from when I'm talking about it. You aren't turning your back on anyone. You're allowing something greater than yourself to step in. I know I've said that before, but I wanted to reiterate that. You are moving out of the way. Even though it can be hard, it can be the best thing for all parties involved. It's because we want others to self-sacrifice or just sacrifice for us. We feel if we show this type of love to others, then naturally it will be reciprocated somehow. However, that's not how it works. We teach people how to treat us. And if we seem like we're okay in how we self-sacrifice, because we're doing it often, we continue to do it, the other person takes it as this is who we are and this is what we're okay with, and they become okay with it as well. They don't necessarily wake up and say, oh, this person is self-sacrificing. And let me change how I'm supposed to do, or let me start sacrificing for them. That is not the actual case. That does not happen. This is the time right now in this square where you find where you need to have your self-care and where you need to let go and put yourself as a priority. I know I've said this earlier, but I am trying to repeat it because I need the understanding that when you have a one consciousness or a universal love, that also means you love yourself as well. And there is a balance that we all can have where we love ourselves and love others and still have our desires and our needs met the way that we meet the desires and needs of other people as well. This concludes the Neptune square Neptune in Midlife Crisis and Spiritual Awakening series. My hope is you got something out of this information. To save time on this video, I went through all of the houses that affected with this square 1 through 12 and turned it into a PDF, and it will be uploaded to my Patreon. If you want to know how this affects you a little bit more personally, I invite you to join my Patreon. The link is in the description and in the bio. So please stay tuned. I have one more part. It will be the finale. It will be Uranus that opposes Uranus. And that is the last of the midlife crisis spiritual awakening transit. If you want me to look at your chart, your personal chart, I'll be happy to do that. There's a link in my description or bio and where you can book a consult, and you would want to schedule for the here and now reading. Okay, here and now. So if you found this video useful, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.